Hey, it's Hada, and thank you for joining me. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about why, if you want to improve your vocabulary and stop getting stuck in English, you have to stop memorizing and learning new words. And here is the thing: as a speaker of English, English as a second language. You may have found yourself in the past or in the present speaking English, and then you got stuck, right? Y- You were looking for a specific word, and that word was nowhere to be found. Word? Where are you, word? Word? And then you ended up using a different word that did not quite convey the message as you wanted it to convey the message, or you just got stuck, and you started getting all anxious and nervous, and then you got stuck even more and started making stupid mistakes. And then afterwards, you felt like crap. You thought, "Oh, my English is so terrible. I don't know word in English." And then you say to yourself, "Hey, I just need to improve my vocabulary." That is the problem. I get stuck because I get stuck because I don't know enough words. You compared yourself to your abilities in your native tongue, and in your native tongue, your words are just like lying there, waiting, waiting for you to grab it. Then, right? And in English, it's just like you have to search for them with a flashlight. Now, first of all, stop comparing yourself to who you are in your native tongue, because it's not productive. It's only going to make you feel bad about it yourself. And it's just not fair. These are two different circumstances. It's kind of like you are comparing apples and oranges. You don't want to do that. Second, you have to understand that the problem here is not your poor vocabulary. It is what you are doing with the words that you already know that you already know. And to explain even more, I'm gonna have to take to my whiteboard. But before, I wanna share with you a quick story. When I first started out teaching, it was after a long period where I would not speak English at all. So, just a quick reminder: I moved to New York in 2000 and moved back to Israel in 2004 or 5. So I was there for almost 5 years, and then for 2 years here. I haven't taken it in English. I I haven't read anything in English. I had the connection. Maybe I listened to TV shows, but that's about it. So when I first started teaching, I I was not very confident about my English abilities, is specifically my fluence. So I was pretty good with pronunciation still, but my ability to communicate and the words and my knowledge of English was fairly limited, especially in comparison to where I am right now. And I remember situations where I was teaching this executive. He was in my house. Back then, I didn't have an office. I was teaching in my apartment, and he wanted to practice reading articles, and I was just like, okay, sure. So let's open the New York Times. I wanted to wanted to sound sophisticated and read an article. So we started reading an article, and my eyes went blank uh, because we started reading it, and I was just like, you know, trying to show him how to pronounce every word, and it was really great. And then we came across a word that I have no idea what it means. Like I could out figure out how to say it, but then he asked me, "What does that mean?" I'm like, huh? Uh, I would try to understand from the context what this word is, and then I would make up something. And then, might you, it was like almost like it was 10 years ago. I was young and naive, and kind of my ego was a lot bigger than what is today. What is today? And and then we came across another word, and I have no idea what it meant. What meant? What it meant? And then another word, and another word, and at some point, I I was just like, okay, let's go back to the beginning and read it again. So I don't come across as complexity. I completely is stupid not uh, knowing all of these words, right? And then I really felt horrible. I was just like, how is that even possible? You know, the imposter syndrome started rising up. You know, the im- imposter imposter syndrome started rising up, rising up. How is it possible that you are a teacher and you don't know all of these words? And And this is ridiculous. You should be not even teaching. Hear this that you are stupid and not intelligent. And blah 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 blah. Of course, he loved this lesson. He loved the lesson. And then he texted me. Oh, it was such a great lesson. Thank you so much. I learned so much, but that does matter. But that does matter, right? Everything that I thought to myself, and then I got obsessed with learning all these facing words from the New York Times. So I invested a lot of time learning of a lot of a lot of words that I came across in all of these academy articles and business articles, and started teaching. I noticed that I not use these words. I'm not using these words, and all of this is Sunday. I started forgetting about all these words, right? So I spent all this time learning these facing words, but never had a chance to use these words. And then I started exploring it, and I started talking to my students, seeing what they are focusing on when they are learning new words. And then we're pretty much doing what I was doing, learning all these facing words. But they never had a real opportunity to use it then. Maybe I used it then in my academy writing, because at the time I was also learning English literature and the university. So, so yeah, every now and then I use it on of these facing words. But in speaking in my lessons, when I was talking to friends, I was never using them. And then I started thinking about how we go about learning words, and is the investment that we are walking or making in learning all of this new facing nice to have words is already uh, advancing us advancing us in where we want to be, which is pretty much speaking fluence and being able to convey y- our message clearly with the right words, with the right flow, and of course, with with the right pronunciation and intonation. I want you to imagine your vocabulary as a circle, as a sort of a cycle. So I was I was a never great at drawing. Okay, anyway, you get the point that your vocabulary. I will even write it here. Now, this is your overall vocabulary. That means that these are words that you understand, that you know it, or that you know, that if you were to read them in a book or hear them when some speaker speaks, you would be like, I know exactly what w- what it means. You would need to got to check then in the dictionary. Okay, so here is the problem. The words that you use in regular conversation are here. It's a much more limited cycle. Okay, so these are that you use easily, right? These are the words that are retrieved easily. Words like house and on and chicken and soup and leaders and gentlemen and maybe other words that you use on a regular basis. Maybe words related to technology because you use them at work all of the time. All of the time. However, there is still a gap here between the words that you know and the words that you actually use. Now, the problem is that a lot of people don't even think about these words as a challenge. They don't think they need to do anything with these words because they know these words. So they go ahead and spend a lot of time expanding and extending this cycle. Now, science is the out, outer cycle. It out take a lot of more energy and work to expand it, and you will do a lot of hard work to expand in just a bit, right? And here is the problem: when you extend this outer cycle, it does not do much to the inner cycle, right? So these words usually stay inaccessible. I mean, you may understand them better when you read, so it definitely helps you comparison and your listening skills. But the question is that helpful for your fluency? And does it improve your from get stuck? I don't think so. So what I'm saying is that in tested of investment in the alt cycle and expanded the outer cycle.